Let's get real. You have dreams, big ones, wild ones, the kind that keep you awake at night and make your heart beat faster when you think about them. But then days go by, weeks, months, years, and those dreams, they fade into the background, life happens, excuses happen, doubt creeps in, and eventually you start telling yourself that maybe it just wasn't meant to be. No, that's not true. The reason your dreams never happen isn't because they're too big. It's because you keep living small, you settle, you hesitate, you overthink, you wait for the perfect time, the perfect conditions, the perfect confidence to show up before you make a move. But here's the truth, your dreams don't die because they're impossible. They die because you stop fighting for them. Most people are addicted to the illusion of progress. They talk a good game, they make vision boards, they buy the books, they scroll through motivational videos. But when it comes time to do the work, the real, ugly, painful, uncomfortable work, they vanish. They choose comfort over growth, familiarity over transformation, distraction over focus. You say you want to start that business. You say you want to lose the weight. You say you want to build something that matters. But what do? You hit snooze. You scroll TikTok. You let fear make your decisions. You wait for someday. And someday never comes. Here's the raw truth. Your dreams will never happen until you learn how to become uncomfortable consistently. Success lives in the pain, in the discipline, in the moments where nobody's watching, and you choose to keep going anyway. When you silence the voice that says, I'm tired, I'm not ready, or what if I fail, and you show up regardless, you keep waiting for motivation. But motivation is not your friend, it's a liar. It comes and goes. What you need is a standard, a code, a decision that says, I don't care how I feel, I'm doing this. You need to raise the bar so high that quitting is no longer an option. You need to stop negotiating with your goals. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They fail because they never developed emotional muscle. They never trained their mind to push through resistance. They let fear win. They let laziness win. They let other people's opinions win. Let me tell you something. You are not your past. You are not your pain. You are not your excuses. You are the choices you make from this moment forward. You want to know why your dreams never happen? Because you tolerate too much nonsense. You tolerate toxic habits, toxic people, weak language. You say things like, I'll try, or maybe someday, or I'm just not good at this. And those words become chains. Chains that keep you stuck in the same place year after year. Stop lying to yourself. If you're not where you want to be, it's not because of your circumstances, it's because of your standards. You get what you tolerate. And if you keep tolerating mediocrity, guess what? That's exactly what you'll keep getting. Success isn't about being lucky. It's about getting laser, focused, ruthlessly focused. It's about saying no to everything that doesn't align with your vision. It's about doing the boring, repetitive things every single day that nobody sees while the rest of the world sleeps. You want results. Then stop being interested and start being obsessed. Burn the boats. Make it non-negotiable. Get hungry because hunger changes everything. Hunger will get you up at 4 a.m. Hunger will push you through rejection. Hunger will silence your fears. Hunger will drag you through hell and back if it means you'll come out stronger on the other side. And let's talk about fear, because that's the real villain, isn't it? Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of starting small, fear of looking stupid. But you need to understand something. Fear isn't there to stop you. It's there to wake you up. It's a signal that you're stepping into growth. Feel it and move anyway. Take the risk, make the call, launch the project, put yourself in the game, because the truth is, you will never feel ready. Readiness is a myth. Nobody ever felt 100% ready to change their life. They just decided. They drew a line in the sand and said, enough, no more excuses, no more waiting, it's now or never. And for you, it's now. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you your dream life. That's your job. That's your responsibility. That's your mission. You have everything you need already inside you. The problem is you keep looking outside. You think more information is going to change you. No. Action is what changes you. Courage changes you. Discipline changes you. Doing the hard things, especially when you don't feel like it, is what rewires your brain and builds the life you crave. Stop chasing ease. Chase excellence. Stop trying to avoid failure. Learn to master it. Because the only way your dreams will happen is if you're willing to fail forward again and again until you break through. Your dream isn't dead, it's just buried under layers of fear, procrastination, and self-doubt. Dig it out, fight for it, show up like your life depends on it, because it does. You only get one shot at this. One life, one moment, one chance to look in the mirror and say, I gave it everything I had. So here's the choice. You can keep living on repeat, keep playing small, keep letting your potential rot inside of you. Or you can wake up, take the wheel, and build the life you know you were born to live. The dream is real, but you've got to become the person who can handle it. No more waiting, no more wishing. It's time to rise. Now go get it. You have dreams inside you that once felt electric. The kind of dreams that made you sit up at night and feel alive just thinking about them. The visions you had as a kid, or maybe as a teenager, or even last year when you told yourself, this is it. I'm going all in this time. But as time passed, those dreams started slipping further and further away, not because they were too hard, not because they were too big, but because you stopped fighting, you stopped pushing, you let life beat the fight out of you. It starts slowly, one small excuse, one little delay. You'll start on Monday, you'll get serious when the time is right. But Monday becomes next week, and next week becomes next month, and before you know it, you've gone years without doing anything real toward that thing that once set your soul on fire. People like to blame the world, the economy, their past, their upbringing, their responsibilities. But let's be honest, none of those things are stronger than your decision to move forward. What kills your dream is not the world outside you, it's the war you've lost inside. That moment when you say, I can't, and start believing it. That moment when you let the fear get louder than your faith. You convince yourself that the odds are too steep, that other people are more talented, that it's too late, that you missed your chance. And that decision, made silently, becomes the reason your dreams die, not because they were unachievable, but because you gave them away. Most people don't even realize they're doing it. They just gradually trade their purpose for comfort, their hunger for habits, their vision for convenience. They choose to fit in, stay safe, avoid risk. They choose the predictable over the powerful, and day by day, choice by choice, they bury their dream under excuses. You stopped fighting when you stopped showing up, when you stopped putting in the work, when you started looking for easier paths instead of committing to the one that calls you. Every dream demands a price, and the truth is, most people aren't willing to pay it. They want the reward, but they don't want the sacrifice. They want the freedom, but they don't want the discipline. They want the success, but they're afraid of the failure it takes to get there, and so they wait. And wish and watch, while time passes and life moves on, and their dream, it stays right where they left it, untouched, unlived, unresolved. You stopped fighting every time you chose doubt over action. Every time you let a bad day become a bad week, and then a bad month. Every time you said, I'll do it tomorrow, and then didn't. Every time you let the voice in your head convince you that you weren't enough. But here's the thing, your dream was never the problem. Your circumstances were never the enemy. The only thing standing in your way is the gap between what you want and what you're actually doing. That's the battleground. That's where the fight is lost, or won, not once, but daily, not in one big decision, but in 1,000 small ones. You don't need a miracle, you don't need a breakthrough, you need to fight again, because the dream didn't walk away from you. You walked away from it. You get what you tolerate. It sounds simple, maybe even harsh, but it's the truth that separates people who rise from those who stay stuck. Every single result in your life right now is a reflection of what you've been willing to settle for. If your body is out of shape, it's because you've tolerated skipping workouts, overeating, and making excuses. If your bank account isn't where you want it to be, it's because you've tolerated staying in your comfort zone, not pushing for more, not learning new skills, not demanding more from yourself. If your relationships are unfulfilling, it's because you've tolerated shallow connections, poor communication, and emotional laziness. Life doesn't give you what you dream about, it gives you what you demand. What you stand for, what you absolutely refuse to accept anything less than. And the reason most people are stuck is not because they don't want more, it's because they keep tolerating less. They say things like it's fine, or at least it's not worse, or maybe someday. That language becomes a trap. It conditions your brain to normalize mediocrity. You become okay with just getting by. You start defending your current situation instead of challenging it. You start telling yourself stories that make it feel okay to stay small, to settle, to play it safe. But every time you say it's not that bad, you reinforce the idea that not that bad is good enough, and the moment that becomes your standard, your results will match it. Because life listens to your standards, not your wishes. Raise your standards and everything changes. Decide that certain behaviors, thoughts, and patterns are no longer acceptable. Decide that you will not live another year stuck in the same cycles. Decide that you are done tolerating excuses, fear, and laziness from yourself. When you draw that line in the sand, when you say never again, you create leverage, you create fire, you create clarity. Most people are unhappy because they're living in a gap between what they truly want and what they're currently tolerating. That gap creates frustration, stress, and quiet misery. But instead of closing the gap, they numb it. They scroll, they binge, they distract. Because facing the truth would mean confronting themselves. And that's uncomfortable, but discomfort is the birthplace of transformation. Until you raise your standards, nothing else you do will stick. You can read all the books, take all the courses, follow all the gurus, but if you still tolerate the same behavior from yourself, nothing will change. Standards are the foundation. They're the rules you live by, the invisible code that guides your decisions. And if your standards are low, your actions will always reflect that. High standards aren't about being perfect. They're about being committed. They're about refusing to accept patterns that don't serve your growth. They're about holding yourself to a higher level of truth even when nobody's watching, especially when nobody's watching. Your life is always trying to reflect back to you what you believe you deserve. If you want more, you have to become the kind of person who no longer tolerates less. You have to break up with your old habits, your old identity, your old excuses. You have to stop negotiating with your greatness. You don't get what you want. You get what you demand. You get what you work for. You get what you're willing to rise for. Your new life begins the moment you stop tolerating the old one. Motivation is a liar. It shows up when it wants, disappears when you need it most, and fools you into thinking that unless you feel like doing something, you can't do it well. It tells you to wait for the right mood, the right moment, the right mindset. But life doesn't reward moods, it rewards discipline. Discipline is the thing that shows up when motivation runs away. It's what separates those who only dream from those who do. People say they're waiting to feel inspired, but that's backwards. Action comes first, feelings follow. You don't need to feel motivated to start. You need to start to feel momentum. Discipline is what gets you up when the bed feels warm and your goals feel distant. It's what keeps you going when no one's watching, no one's clapping, no one's validating your effort. It's boring, repetitive, thankless, but it works. It rewires your brain, builds your grit, and sharpens your edge. The people who win aren't the most excited. They're the most consistent. They're the ones who do the work whether they feel like it or not. They've trained themselves to act in spite of emotions, not because of them. Motivation tells you it's okay to skip today. Discipline tells you that skipping today is how you destroy tomorrow. Motivation gives you permission to quit. Discipline reminds you why you started. If your goals rely on being in the mood, you'll never get there. Because there will be more days when you don't feel like it than days when you do. Discipline is the insurance policy against failure. It's the habit of showing up anyway. It's the muscle you build every time you do the hard thing the boring thing, the necessary thing, especially when every part of you wants to run. The real transformation doesn't come from the big, loud moments of inspiration. It comes from the silent hours when you're tired, frustrated, and unmotivated, but you show up anyway. Those are the moments that change you. Those are the moments that separate the average from the exceptional. People look at others crushing it and say, they're just more motivated. No, they've just built a relationship with discomfort. They've learned how to be relentless without applause. They've made discipline their default. Motivation is like a spark, bright, flashy, and gone in seconds. Discipline is the firewood, slow, steady, and reliable. It's what keeps the fire burning when everything else fades. If you wait until you feel like doing the work, you'll lose. You'll keep starting over. You'll build nothing that lasts. But if you decide that the work gets done no matter what, everything changes, because discipline doesn't care about your mood. Discipline only cares about your mission. And the mission is bigger than how you feel today. The mission demands more than your comfort. It demands consistency, commitment, and the courage to act even when your mind is screaming for ease. The world will keep feeding you reasons to stop. Your own mind will try to talk you out of your greatness, but discipline is the voice that says do it anyway, and the more you listen to that voice, the louder it gets. It becomes who you are, not someone who waits, but someone who moves. Not someone who hopes, but someone who executes. Fear isn't your enemy, it's a compass pointing to your growth. The moment something scares you, it's usually a sign you're standing at the edge of a breakthrough. But most people treat fear like a stop sign instead of a signal to go. They feel it and freeze, they overthink, they avoid. They play safe, even when everything inside them knows they were built for more. Fear is uncomfortable, and your brain is wired to avoid discomfort. But that same discomfort is where your transformation lies. The challenge is not to eliminate fear, it's to change your relationship with it. Fear shows up when you're about to do something that stretches your identity. It whispers all the reasons why you shouldn't try. It magnifies what might go wrong. It reminds you of every past failure and convinces you that history will repeat itself. But that voice is not truth, it's just noise. And your ability to grow depends on your willingness to move anyway, even with the noise still there. The person who becomes fearless is not the one who never feels fear. It's the one who acts in spite of it. It's the one who hears the doubts, feels the uncertainty, and still chooses to lean in. Every time you run from fear, you reinforce the belief that it's stronger than you. You teach your nervous system to flinch, to avoid risk, to play small. And the longer you avoid it, the louder it gets. But when you face it head on, when you step into the thing you've been avoiding, something shifts. You begin to prove to yourself that you can do hard things. You rewire your self-image. You become stronger, sharper, braver, and that new version of you becomes unstoppable. Most of the things you fear are not life-threatening, they're ego-threatening. The fear of failure, rejection, embarrassment, these are fears of how others might see you, not fears of actual danger. But if you let them control you, they'll rob you of every meaningful opportunity. Fear often guards the doorway to your potential. Behind every scary decision is a version of you that's more aligned, more powerful, more fulfilled. But you'll never meet that version if you keep turning back. Fear invites you to rise. It's an invitation, not a warning. It's your edge saying, "Come meet me here." Most people wait for the fear to go away before they move. But the truth is, courage comes first. Confidence comes after. The more you walk through fear, the more you build trust in yourself. You stop needing guarantees. You stop needing certainty. You start building internal proof that you can adapt, recover, and grow no matter what happens. And once you own that, fear loses its grip. You realize fear wasn't there to stop you, it was there to refine you, to test you, to prepare you, and in every moment you face it, you either shrink or you expand. Growth is a decision, not a feeling. You don't have to wait to feel brave. You just have to take the next step, lean into the thing that scares you, do the thing that keeps you up at night, Ask the question, take the leap, have the conversation. Let fear be the signal, not the stop sign, because where fear is, your next level is close, and the life you truly want lives on the other side of the things you're afraid to face. You'll never feel ready. Success begins the moment you decide. Waiting to feel ready is one of the greatest illusions that holds people back. There's this idea that one day the fear will disappear, the doubt will dissolve, the timing will be perfect, and you'll finally feel prepared to chase the thing you want. That day never comes. Readiness is not something you feel, it's something you create by taking action. People spend years waiting for clarity, for certainty, for permission, but clarity comes from movement, not meditation. Certainty comes from action, not analysis. The moment you decide, truly decide, you begin creating momentum. That one decision to start before you're ready is often the dividing line between people who talk and people who build. Most people have convinced themselves that they need more time to plan, more time to research, more time to build confidence. But the truth is, the only thing they're building is hesitation. And hesitation kills dreams. You don't build confidence by thinking about doing something. You build it by doing it messy, doing it scared, doing it when you don't know what the hell you're doing. The people you admire, the ones who have created something powerful, they didn't wait for a perfect day to begin. They began in chaos, in uncertainty, in fear. They decided that done was better than perfect, that forward was better than frozen, and that their vision was worth risking their comfort. Every excuse you give yourself, not enough experience, not enough support, not enough skill, is just a mask for the truth that you're afraid to fail. But what if failing is exactly what you need? What if stumbling is the very thing that teaches you how to stand stronger? What if the path you're avoiding is the only path that leads to who you're meant to be? Success doesn't wait for your emotions to catch up. It responds to your actions. It rewards the ones who say, "I'm going anyway," even when the inner voice is screaming that they're not enough. You've been taught to chase perfection, but perfection is the enemy of execution. You've been conditioned to believe that certainty comes first, but it comes after you leap. The minute you make a committed decision, your brain starts finding a way. The universe starts responding to your boldness. Doors open, opportunities appear, people show up, but none of that happens until you go first. Until you say yes before the how is figured out. You'll never feel fully ready, and that's the point. If you did, it wouldn't be growth. It wouldn't stretch you, it wouldn't make you evolve. Feeling unready is the signal that you're in the right place. It means you're doing something that matters. It means you're challenging the old version of yourself. And every time you decide without feeling ready, you take back your power. You stop waiting for life to give you permission. You stop waiting for the stars to align. You step into the driver's seat of your future. And that's where transformation begins. Not when you feel strong, but when you choose to move while still feeling unsure. Not when the fear is gone, but when you act in the face of it. Not when everything makes sense, but when you decide that not starting is no longer an option. Because the life you want won't wait for you to feel ready. It's waiting for you to move.